Hi YouTube. Today I'm going to be showing you a really quick upcycle that you can do. I actually bought this table. It's really nice. The wooden legs are really pretty, and I actually want to keep the wood, but the top is quite ruined and there's a couple of little holes and digs in it, and I've tried getting off these dark marks and I just can't get them off. I think it's like stained the wood. So rather than stripping it back and then having to repolish it, I'd never get the same colour, and I don't really want to paint it. So what I'm actually going to do is just cover the top with this really nice wrapping paper I just found. It looks like music sheets. I have done a video before on decoupage. I use wallpaper, but hopefully this is going to go for it a bit quicker. And obviously this is wrapping paper, not wallpaper. So what I did was I laid the paper on top of the table, folded it all the way around to give me the lines where to cut, and I've actually cut it to the exact size that I need. I do apologise, I am sitting on the floor because I couldn't get the camera at the right angle, so it's that easy. You can do it sitting down on the floor. And my floor's pretty hard to be fair, but anyway. Right, so I'm going to use the straight edge of the wrapping paper at the front. And I'm not doing, I'll tip it up a bit, you can see it's got like a bevel. I'm not doing down to the edge, I'm doing to this line here. So once you've cut your paper, so for that obviously you'll need some scissors, or you know, if you prefer to use a razor, something like that. And I've got a bowl here which has got just some warm water in it because I want to dump the paper in that. And then I have got some watered down PVA. It's normal PVA, and I've just put a little bit of water in it just to make it the consistency of like double cream rather than using pure PVA, because sometimes it can go a bit lumpy. And it really is quite simple. So you get your PVA and you paint it over where you're going to be putting the paper. Should have thought about a bigger brush, but never mind. Might be here a little while. You have to work quite quickly because the PVA does dry, and I wanted to do this just to show that when you are upcycling you don't have to paint everything. You know, you can just cover something in some paper. You don't have to just think every time, right, I'm going to paint all of that, because sometimes it's quite nice to retain some of the natural wood. I'm going to be here a little while with this. I might just cheat and pour a little bit on. That's a bit quicker, isn't it? Right. On the tabletop itself was really dirty, so I actually just got like a scouring pad and some washing up liquids and warm water, and I just gave it a good scrub, and then I made sure it was completely dry before I started. So you don't want any bits of dirt underneath that when you put the paper on it's going to show through. Likewise, if you've got any marks on the paper, on the table, like lumps or anything like that, just try and sand them down if you can, because they will poke through the paper, which is what we don't want. Okay, this is nearly covered. And don't worry if some of the glue gets on any of the wood that you've left, it doesn't matter. pretty pleased that that's all now totally covered in the glue. Then what I'm going to do, I can move that out of the way. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Is I've got the water here. I'm going to get my paper, and I'm actually going to just dunk it in the water. This paper is quite thin, so if you can see that, let me move it just slightly. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm literally just running the paper through the water. Doesn't matter if it goes screwed up because you will flan it out in a minute. So if you think, oh no, just the main thing is try not to tear it, so be quite careful. So that's all been all through the water. Alright. What we do, just let the excess drip off. Obviously, if you are working indoors and you've got, you know, like a carpet or something, then just put something down to protect it. Okay, so let's bring the table back with the PVA on it. I'm going to stand up for this part. I'm going to disappear for a minute. Then what you want to do is try and get your paper. Lay it on top. You don't have to work as quickly as you think you do. It's just a few goes to try and it's getting that front edge straight. Once you get that straight, you're pretty much good. Got a slight tear there, but you won't notice it once the top layer of PVA goes on. We can almost glue that back together. We're nearly there. I finally got it in place. So to be honest, that only did take a couple of minutes. So that's gone on top in one piece. Now a tip for you is to get the water that we dip the paper in, wet your hands, and then very gently just go over any lumps or bumps. And if your hands were dry, obviously as soon as you put them on this, it would more than likely tear it. I'm really pleased with that. Because it's quite thin, you shouldn't get any lumps. And if you do, just get your like wrinkles or air bubbles or anything, just get your brush that you put on the PVA underneath with and just smooth them out. Again, being quite delicate. And once you're happy that the table has got no wrinkles or bumps on it, then just leave it to dry, and then we'll just put a coat of PVA over the top and then some varnish to finish it, and that will be it. I'm going to leave this to dry, put the kettle on, and I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like once it's completely dried. Okay, so the table dried and I've just put on some pure PVA. This is PVA, I know it looks like milk, but it's just PVA that I've decanted into here. And I've just put quite a bit on, as you can see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my hands just to rub it in, and this will seal the paper. And the reason I like to use my hands is because you can feel if there are any little creases or lumps, you can just smooth them out with your hands. And it feels really nice, so. Now any bits, see like here where it's gone slightly over the edge more than I wanted to, don't worry, because I'll get a razor blade or a craft blade and I'll just take that off after once it's dried. I'm really pleased that this is all feeling really smooth. You might think, oh, I can't see the image anymore because it's covered in the PVA and it's gone quite light. Don't worry, because the PVA does dry clear. And then don't forget to just run around the edge so you're not going to hit it and it's going to lift off. And likewise, I cut the paper just slightly bigger, so at the back I've actually just turned it round at the back, so it gives you a nice professional finish at the back too. Right, I'm pleased with that. I think it's time for another cup of tea and then I'll come back and I'll show you once it's completely dried. I've actually popped on a top coat of clear varnish and the table is completely finished. I'm really pleased with the way it looks. I don't know if you can see, but there's no lumps or bumps or tears in the paper. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have found it quite useful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments bar below. Likewise, you can always share any projects you do that, if you found this helpful, on my Facebook page, which is BamTilly Interiors. I hope you've enjoyed watching and we'll see you soon.